Yeah,
We
how about
appreciate that.
All right.
There's Wade, too. Hi, Wade. Can you hear us, Wade? Yep, good.
Hey, wait.
Did it get snow down by Wade?
You didn't get any snow. Did you get snow?
We had about 3 inches of snow, then ice came after that this morning.
Wow.
All right.
All right.
Good job. All right, people. Welcome aboard. I know you like it when I hit the gavel. It is Tuesday, the 16th of January. Thank you for being here tonight, everybody. We've got all the commissioners are here tonight. We've got Niles, the assistant town manager, in the house. We've got Wade online. Thanks, Wade, for joining us tonight. And then also to no John Strong and no Jay Gullo, correct?
Correct.
Just, I'm not noting it just to call them out. I'm just noting it because they're just not here. So, okay, good. All right, before we get started, Jeff, if you could lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, guys, good job. Good start. Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate that. All right, before we get into our regular agenda of things tonight, we have the holiday lighting contest winners. And that means you're first up. Tara Scholes, our newest employee, is here to do the job for us. Kathy Bupp is passing the baton to Tara for this. And you get to announce our holiday lighting winners and tell us who we have. Good start, good start. Glasses.
Very, very important.
Ooh,
Yep.
the teacher becomes the assistant.
Yeah.
First up is Johnny Farrell.
Is Johnny here? Nope.
Not here. Oh, the townhouse was great. It looked amazing. We also have Jeff Johnson and Emily Zarin Helke. Am I saying that correctly? Also not here.
Does it go to someone else?
We also have the traditional category, and first up is Jason and Ashley Elliott, which I do not see them here either.
Oh.
Nope.
Where's Tom?
And was traditional defined as white light?
Thank
We had a
you.
debate.
I didn't want to say
Not a
it.
debate.
Most.
Yeah.
It's mainly white lights, sort of, wreaths, candles.
Okay, something that looks like a candlelight.
Inflatables and fun, colorful lights and
Yep.
displays is more the contemporary.
Yep.
Oh, very good.
Well, I can't say I agree with that, but I can't say I agree with that.
Approved. Approved.
The second
To be debated next year.
Catherine Rockford.
Yes, all right.
Hey, someone's here for us to cheer for.
Come up, accept your award. Hang on. I'm going to get my camera ready.
That fancy camera, Martin, work with him.
No, I got it. Because of Martin shamed me on my camera last time, I replaced it.
Good job, Martin.
All right, you guys. I'm ready to go right here. Let's have that presentation.
Is there a photograph to show on the TV?
What's that?
Is there a,
You gotta get in there.
They're on it.
Job. No, you're good.
Congratulations.
You guys. Thank you.
All local gift cards, so whatever you pick is a winner. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for showing up.
Congratulations.
Thank you for the decorations.
Appreciate it. So nice to have
Awesome.
someone to cheer for in person.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, and then we have contemporary, which is Richard and Linda Sherwin.
Aw,
It was me. We also have Doug and Vicky Carlson. All right. And finally, I can tell she's not here either for the business. It was Heather Koskian Photography.
Yay.
hey,
well done. Well done.
Yeah, so we just wanted to do a quick little brief talk about what next year's new plan is for the holiday lighting. We're hoping to switch it up a little bit. It's going to become where you register to be part of the contest. And then we'll create a map of all the homes that have registered in town to make it sort of a fun thing for people to go and do. And there'll be new categories too, so something.
oh, wonderful.
We're gonna change it up a bit.
All right.
Great.
Yeah, and or the community will vote. Right, we will not be the judges anymore.
Best Christmas truck, right? Is that a category?
I told you,
that a
register, you can win, Jim.
Traditional or contemporary?
Traditional or contemporary? That's why I need to know what color to make the lights. Sarah, no vote.
Right.
All right, Tara and Kathy, thank you so much for that. That was great and extremely well done. Thank you guys for showing up tonight. You can stay if you want to for more of the fun, or you're. Okay.
Feel
What-
free.
One more round of applause for our winners tonight. Thank you. Thank you.
Aw, squeezing us in before the airport.
Yep.
Safe travels.
Yep.
Safe traveling.
Absolute high point of the meeting, probably. Good job, guys. Seriously.
That
was good.
From here.
Boom. Right. Yeah. This is who made the. Thank you, guys. Again, thanks again, you guys, for taking care of business there. So we have our commissioner announcements and committee reports combined again. Jeff, if you don't mind starting us off, please, if you're ready.
Sure. So the Montgomery County Volunteer Fire Department wants to thank everybody that made a contribution to Toys for Wumco. And is speaking with Kate Longbreak, the executive director of Wumco. They had more than 180 families with more than 400 some children. And the toys that were collected in Poolesville, so they did not have to go to the Toys for Tots for the Marines to get any additional. So thank you very much for all the folks that donated to the Toys for Wumco. Also, the Montgomery Volunteer Fire Station was very happy to participate in the lighting event and deliver Santa, so I think that worked out quite well. And should I give my report now?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so now this is going to be the report from the Parks Board. So the Parks Board met, and one of the topics was security cameras at the Poolesville Parks. Superintendent Preston King noted that some youths cause trouble at the parks, especially at the skate park. There are lights, but there are no security cameras. Superintendent King believes that more lights will just invite the young persons to remain at the parks longer beyond the closing times. A previous attempt at closing the parks at dusk was to erect a fence. Ultimately, the fence was torn down by the young people. A long discussion ensued regarding the use of security cameras. The idea was floated to have security cameras placed online for a live feed for anyone to view, such as real-time weather cameras and traffic cameras, for example. Town attorney provided his input in an email from the 5th of January, which took place after the Parks Board met, because I had emailed Attorney Jay to get Gula for some advice on this. And he says, I do not believe there's any legal problem with this, placing cameras, as long as it doesn't record sound. Typically, the security cameras are used for security and the feed is recorded. I'm not sure what additional technical steps would need to be taken to make things a live feed and create a firewall so that the feed couldn't be used to access the town system. Superintendent Preston noted that 90% or more of the young people do not cause problems and do not vandalize the parks. It's only a small number of young people that cause the issues. The Parks Board agreed to invite town attorney to the Parks Board meeting to discuss the pros and cons of security cameras in the Poolesville Parks. Next topic was sidewalks. Sidewalks priority list for improvement or adding new sidewalks. The West Willard sidewalk was added in 2019. On the priority list is currently a sidewalk near the K2 Cafe along West Willard across from the Poolesville High School. The Parks Board is reviewing and may reprioritize the sidewalk list. Preston noted that trees are causing some sidewalk segments to uplift. This needs to be corrected to be in ADA, Americans with Disability Act compliance. Preston will drive the areas to identify the areas that need to be corrected. The Poolesville High School will, as part of the school improvement plan, add sidewalks along West Willard and along Wooten Avenue. There are no sidewalks along Wooten Avenue along the skate park and dog park. The new town home development near CVS will add those sidewalks. Additionally, there is a sidewalk gap along Bodmer Avenue where the new Westerly Grove development meets the Legacy development. The Parks Board agreed that Assistant Town Manager Niles Endereg will separate the sidewalk lists into two lists First, a list of repairs of existing sidewalks, and second, a list for adding new sidewalks. Further, it was noted and agreed that the Parks Board should ask the Planning Board to require sidewalks for all new home construction. I think you already do that, right, Martin? Mm-hmm. So, yeah, thank you. As a follow-up on the fence gap along West Willard for the practice field at Westerly Grove, the blacktop sidewalk runs inside the field play area. Plus, the soccer goal net is in the northwest corner along West Willard Road, where the children playing soccer congregate to score a goal. The gap in the fence allows the soccer ball to roll out into West Willard Road. Preston has reduced the gap in the fence from 33 feet to 7 feet. Additionally, town engineer Mr. Strong is researching additional safety improvements. Pardon me. Report from the superintendent of Parks and Streets. Holiday lighting ceremony, although a dreary day, when the rain stopped, Wayland Commons was filled with happy Poolesville residents. Everything went well. Preston noted that every athletic field in Poolesville is fully booked. The sporting facilities have been improved, including basketball and pickleball. This is great. Contracts are in place with third parties for snow removal. The plan to upgrade the power and wiring infrastructure in Wayland Commons is in the budget, especially to accommodate the EV charging stations and the power requirements for the Poolesville Day and other Wayland Common events. The existing system was never designed for EV charging stations. During events in Wayland Commons, the EV chargers are turned off to avoid power failures. A 6-month position will be upgraded to a full-time position on the Parks and Streets Department. In fiscal year '24, the Parks and Streets Department will go from 3 to 4 summer employees. It has been tough to get local youth to sign up to work from 6:30 a.m. to 3 p.m., I wouldn't do that either, with a weed eater in their hands for 6 hours. The pay is $15 an hour with a guaranteed 40-hour work week. Preston is looking to purchase a replacement truck in the near future. A couple of lawnmowers are on the 7-year replacement schedule. Tree roots are beginning to cause trouble for sidewalks. Plus, there are a number of large ash trees that have died from the ash borer. The ash borer is an invasive wood-boring beetle that kills ash trees by eating the tissue under the bark. The dead ash trees will be removed. Preston hires a professional tree removal service where climbing is required to safely remove a large dead tree. Over the last several years, the cost of $10,000 to $15,000 has been over the budget for tree removal. The street lighting program involves changing the street lights to LED lights. This saves money not only in reduced power usage, but especially with the greatly reduced maintenance on the LED street lights. The Helmholtz Park restroom replacements have started. The new restrooms in Helmholtz Park will mirror the restrooms at Elgin Park. The new restrooms are expected to be ready for the start of sports in April 2024. The basketball backboards are new in Elgin Park. The new basketball backboards in Helmholtz and Stevens are appreciated by the youths and adults that use those basketball courts. Upgrade to the skate park will likely take place next summer. The contractor did not have an opening until the summer of '24. Is that right, Niles? Or is it '25?
Say that again, I'm sorry.
The skate park.
Yeah, the skate park expansion, depending on fitting into their schedule,
Yeah.
it's, so I think they were looking at the summer of '25, I think was what
Oh, it was, okay.
the discussion was, but I'm not sure.
At the latest, they're trying to get it in before. It's such a small project. They're gonna try to fit us in between larger projects that they have going on.
Yep.
Thanks, Wade Niles. Yeah, also regarding the bouldering park, we are waiting to see the results of grant applications. Again, the desire to have flashing crosswalk lights at the corner of Haller Avenue and Elgin Road. This is an area where the school children cross Elgin in the morning to catch the school bus, and again in the afternoon getting off the school bus. The hazard is the cars coming around the bend from the north may not see the school children crossing Elgin Road to get to and from the bus. Although we don't own that part of the road, so I know it's always an ongoing debate. The next Parks Board meeting will be February the 7th, 2024. Thank you.
Awesome. Couple questions. One question, and it's for Niles, Wade, and Jeff. Has the West Willard sidewalk completion in that one stretch, has that been like, the Parks Board not only just approved it, but it's at the top of the list, and hopefully will happen this spring. I know that we've been challenged by this. Is
Well,
that
that's the top of their priority list. You're talking on the side, the K2 side of the road?
K2 side of the road?
Yes.
Yes.
That's the top
Well,
priority.
From like K
I think we're taking a look at to see which side of the road it will go on.
Yeah, there's
Challenges
some,
with- That's part of the discussion.
yeah, there's
Because
some,
we've had this conversation before about easements and where can we actually put it?
And-
But there already is a sidewalk that goes up to and behind, by K2.
Yeah.
So we potentially have an issue with, we'd have to put it on the other side?
it depends on like drainage and like the mechanics of how best to fit in the sidewalk, where it would go best in terms of the topography of the street and how best to do it.
Because I can't imagine that we would put a sidewalk in on the Riverworks side without some sort of remediation on,
Right.
the
Yeah.
Lake Riverworks.
Yeah.
Right,
That's-
well, so that's part of, and that was a discussion at the planning
Yeah, ice skating
as well.
Riverworks, right?
Was how to best make all of these changes and how to best facilitate the, crosswalks, lighting, the sidewalk, all of those things were part of that discussion as well. So it's just about trying to figure out the best utilization of our easement there, and because I think it's just a prescriptive easement, so we just have that 5 feet.
Understood.
Part, so that's part of it as well.
So what I would love to see is if it's possible, like spring break is coming. If we could do something at spring break, I know that's probably a quick goal, but I'd love to have something done at spring break, because that is the true weak point of, and we've all talked about this, this isn't new to conversation.
Yeah, 2 or 3 times.
That is the true weak point of all of our sidewalks in town, is that one little stretch.
Yep.
It gets used all the time, so.
And the only length, there's probably no more than 10 feet of sidewalk is right by K2 where the bus stops.
That's right.
That's literally it.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. So I know you guys will figure it out, but I just wanted to reiterate that again. And I know we've already talked about it, and you're like, Jim, you didn't say you were going to bring that up, but
Yeah.
I am bringing it up.
But no, I mean, this was a discussion at the Parks Board and at
Yeah.
the Planning Commission,
Yeah.
so it's
Yep.
there.
I know, yeah, good. Thank you. Spring break. Think about spring break, how we're going to get that done. Where's John Strong? Can you hear this? Microphone. Okay, thanks again, Jeff, for your report. Very good, very thorough. Appreciate it. Martin, are you ready?
Yeah, the planning commission met last Wednesday, and we had a few things on the agenda. The first was the Riverworks special exemption and variance, 00-23 for parking, used for an outdoor theater at 17605 West Wold Road. We heard from the owner of the Potomac, the Poolesville Professional Center over there, Peter Alapius, is that his name? Lupus, who was very supportive of the project, but he's concerned about his parking lot, as you can imagine, during the events at Riverworks. So the big rub there is there's only like 6 parking sites on site for Riverworks, and they needed to get some kind of other alternative lined up, which they did. So they now meet with the agreement they have with I think it's the Presbyterian Church. They now meet the requirement. So the Planning Commission voted to recommend to the Board of Zoning Appeals that they approve the variance, conditional upon the 28 spaces that the church is going to give them, adequate signage, and some kind of a crossing guard / assistance during events. To help make the off-site parking a little safer. We also discussed that sidewalk because, if people are coming up from the Presbyterian Church, they're going to need a sidewalk to walk on, and possibly some street lighting there too that Wade, I think, was looking into. I'm not sure of the feasibility of that, but we're looking at it. So that was recommended that to the BZA. We heard about the Russell Branch preliminary plan, and that was just, as I said, a preliminary plan, and John Strong had a lot of feedback for them, so they've got some work to do. We talked about the annual wastewater capacity report, which we're going to hear about tonight, I believe. In the end, I won't steal too much thunder from the report, but we are recommending that for now, all new water allocations are sort of frozen until we figure out what's going on with the PFAS remediation and some wells being down, and, you know, like, when wells come back online, are they gonna test high for PFAS? And, you know, I guess the big thing is gonna be what the EPA or what the state is, is it the state or the EPA we're waiting on?
EPA.
The EPA is gonna come out with guidance, and, you know, depending on what their guidance is, you know, we could have some water constraints. We should be fine, you know, with these recommendations. And the one thing that Chuck pointed out that he wanted me to specifically mention is that the town has the ability to stop and to halt any currently approved projects for water matters, even if the project is started, if we have good reason to do it. So that's something that we can use if we have to. It's probably unlikely, but, you know, if it came down to that, we could do that if we needed to. And we discussed the comprehensive plan, which we're having a work session on Thursday, I believe.
Correct.
And that's getting close. I know you keep hearing that, but it's getting close. We've got the cover.
Not getting any
working on
younger
the
over
cover,
here.
And you know, we've got what I hope is the final draft. There'll probably be a few little minor tweaks. So that was it.
Very good. Is it, I just want to make sure, you said Presbyterian, is it St. Peter's Episcopal Church?
I'm sorry, the Episcopal Church.
Okay, I knew someone was going to fix us anyway.
Yeah, the
so-
Presbyterian's across the street.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that makes more important about the sidewalk
Yes.
again,
Yes.
doing that too. And what
sorry
we
about
going
that, Mr.
that's all right. I just want to make sure we had it right. Jeff, did you
No,
have
I'm just
something
going to say, but their parking lot is not contiguous with Riverworks.
Yeah.
Right, they're going to have to walk out to Fisher, come down Fisher, and
Right.
then walk down the sidewalk that hasn't been done.
It isn't there, yeah.
Yeah.
Probably a
and then-
45-second walk. It's not,
Yeah.
shouldn't be. a
That's
problem.
nice they've reached an agreement, and I'm sure that
Yeah.
worked for the planning commission.
And I should mention too, they have another agreement in place, I think, with the Baptist Church. Hopefully I'm getting my religions right.
You're okay so far.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, and I think that, I suspect they're going to take that to the BZA too. That it wasn't quite finalized yet, when they were in here. But I'm excited for that project. It should be good.
Yeah, it's great. Okay, very good. Thank you for that. It's a great, and so I'm not trying to pin you down, but the comprehensive.
For sure by
What do you think?
2026.
Before my term runs out, what do you think?
I suspect that it'll be ready for our next meeting. And Wade and Niles, please speak up if you think that's not accurate.
I mean, my thought is we sent the complete draft to the planning commission, well, the work session this week. So we'll see if what other hopefully minor changes there are from there. And then at that point, you know, the planning commission has to set a public hearing. So that part has to happen.
Okay.
But that's potentially at the February, potentially at the February planning commission meeting. So at that point, we would have a draft to present for the public to make comment on.
Okay.
That makes sense.
And when you say the public, you do mean the commissioners as well?
Yes, I mean,
Okay, good.
it will be at that point, for a public hearing, it is a public document, so.
That's good to hear.
Everybody can discuss. Unless you want to add anything there, Wade.
No, once the planning commission is fine with it moving forward, we are going to mail it out to all the state and county agencies, as well as the commissioners and other boards and committees for their review prior to the public hearing also. So you guys will get to see it first.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you for that. Thanks for the clarification. I know you guys have been working hard on it, and we're just looking forward to seeing it, that's all. So,
Yeah, it's
and
it's a mountain of work, honestly. I mean,
It is.
And when you have particularly Lexi and Chuck, who are very brainy and thorough, really, it's going to be a good document.
A lot of
They
details.
put a lot of thought into it, a lot of tweaks and reworks, and yeah.
Good. Okay, great. That's a big plan for everybody. That's all the, hundreds of thousands of people that are listening to us on YouTube right now. We all can't wait for that to come in and review it. So that's going to be amazing. Thank you for the update on that. Appreciate it. Either one of you two, I let you decide who goes next.
No, you went.
All right.
I know I
so
usually go
say
Ed Sarah.
you.
Okay,
I'll
okay.
chime in as needed. In terms of sustainable Poolesville, a couple of things. Our next meeting is moved from the 24th to the 31st, and so we'll meet on that Wednesday. Yesterday, the Pick It Up Poolesville, they met, they had a few kids go outside over near the high school, and they did a lot of cleanup over near the high school, and so that was a good thing. Kids got SSL hours. The next Pick It Up Poolesville is February 3rd, from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. They're going to meet at Poolesville High School on the West Willard side. At our next meeting, we're going to look at some data. We've been tracking Titus pickup of trash and recycle. And so Titus has been very cooperative. Every time we put in a request for information, Titus has returned that. We didn't have that same level of experience with the previous company. And so we've collected some data, has been shared within the committee, then we'll look at that at our next meeting. That's it for Sustainable Poolesville at the time. And so no announcements, so I'll pass it over to Sarah.
Great, thanks, Ed. No announcements. The Fair Access Committee met last Thursday, January 11th. We had a very special guest, Marilyn Balcom, our county council member, was there, and she's been a fantastic advocate for our community, and we really appreciate working with her. Probably one of the most important pieces of work that she's working on right now is working hand in hand with WUMCO and the Rural Healthcare Initiative, and trying to ensure that rural health is included as a permanent line item on future budgets. And we've gotten some positive feedback that is hopefully moving forward. WUMCO has gotten some fantastic grant funding to continue on the rural health care. They've got dentistry and medical appointments that are happening monthly. If you haven't seen that yet, check out the WUMCO website. And those have been really well received. White's Ferry is something that we're always trying to push forward. There's not a lot of progress. We released a press release on the anniversary again, calling out both parties for really letting the community down and failing to come to an agreement to move forward. Unfortunately, I don't have any other, there's no other progress report other than that. And then on our community center, I actually was wondering, Link, if you are open to it, since you've been such an integral part on this, would you like to come up and share with everybody about the CIP budget hearing and where we are with the community center?
Thanks for doing
Yeah.
that. Yeah, we've been pushing for the community center, as you know, and the first step is to get the county executive to include it in his budget, which is not as easy as it sounds. There are around $568 million worth of capital funding projects every year, but we succeeded. It's in the budget, and we just announced today, both the design and construction. And so we're going to do a short release and thank him for it. But I got to thank all of you and the community, because this is really an incredible step forward. It does very clearly have clinic space included in the plan. It's in the Office of Management and Budget report, which is the next step to get it funded. So now we got to do the hearings process, which is in February, which all of you, probably the town could also appear. Jim, if you guys want to appear, we certainly will appear. We're trying to get a student to come. There are 2 students that have been helping us on this, and I think they're going to try to sign up to speak too, and I think WUMCO will speak. So a lot of progress, and we just got to keep the trains running. This is a very tough budget year, and there's got a lot of projects that are in there. So ours could get taken out if we don't keep the pressure on. So thank you.
Can I ask a
Wait, before you leave, Link, also, one more thing. Go ahead and ask your question, then I'll.
No, I just wanted to ask a link because maybe it was a month or 2 ago, and we had the report out from the Department of Planning, the POR, the Program of Requirements, and we had, it was a wish list a mile long. And were you able to trim that back so that the budget number wasn't just unreachable?
We aren't the ones who do that. It's actually Greg Assant, who's the guy in the facilities planning who does it.
He was a gentleman who made the presentation.
Yeah, and the 2 staffers who were there. But, of course, they take input from the community. And actually, one of the things in the OMB report that's really important is it says that the coordination process will include several agencies. HHS is one for health. One is general services, which is Greg's organization. The other is the town of Poolesville. So they will be coming back to us to try to get that whittled down to something that's more appropriate. The budget has about $15.5 million in it right now identified for the construction. So hopefully that'll be enough. We visited several community centers, and Sarah was at least one of the visits. We visited 2 other ones in addition, and they're all about 15,000 square feet. I think that's what we're shooting for. But the clinic space is clearly a high priority, and they know that. It's going to be in there no matter what.
So is it up to this organization to do the redlining?
It will be up to all of you. They're going to come back to you. They're going to come back to some of the folks they consulted with before as they come up with new ideas on how to trim this down to something from 30,000 square feet, which is what it was when we met, down to 15,000 square feet.
Thank you.
And they'll be working with like an architect and like actually getting real design plans in that process for us as well. So it's more that they're sharing with us, not that it's our responsibility to figure out what to cut.
Right.
But we will be part of the process. Link, we clearly and thankfully have the county executive's support so far in this community center. And part of that process with the Fair Access Committee of securing this funding is also getting all of our county council members' support as well. And so to that end, we've been meeting with each of our council members that we can. Would you mind just giving a brief update on that part of the process?
So there are, as you know, 7 council members from districts and 4 at-large members. The 4 at-large members, think of them as really our council members too, because they represent the entire county. So we focused a lot of our meetings on them. We've met with, so far, 2 of them that are at-large members. We're also scheduled one with Gabe Albernoz, who's another one of our at-large members, and former Department of Recreation head, very important. And we've got a meeting with Will Jawando, another at-large member. And so those will close out the at-large members. We met with Marilyn, and we had a dinner with her, and she was here. We met with Don Lutke by Zoom, and also with Kate Stewart, who is the vice president this year of the council, and very, very important. She's the next person up beyond. Andrew Friedsen's the president this year. She will be next year's president. So getting her on board is important too. This is a 2-year budget, so if we can get her on board next year, if there's anything that happens, she'll be in place to help us. So I think we cover most of the major members. I think I'm going to try to reach out with Kristen Mink too. I don't think Sidney Katz, I think he'll vote for us. I don't think we need to worry about him. So I think we're in really pretty good shape at this point.
Wow, well, congratulations. That's a
Yeah,
monumental effort.
It's going to be a good step forward for all of us. So, and WUMCO's really looking forward to it. Their operating budget proposal that Sarah mentioned, I'm almost certain it's going to be in the operating budget. That doesn't come though until March. So we won't know, but I'm pretty sure it will be in the operating budget.
Right.
So, thank you.
Congratulations to the
Well,
Fair Access.
yeah, one more question for you too. The ZTA that we've had so much conversations about, you want to give us an update on that?
Yeah, so we had as you know, this economic summit back in October. At the time, we didn't know this was going to happen, but Natalie Fanny Gonzalez announced a ZTA, which is a zoning text amendment, a change in the zoning rules for the ag reserve. The proposal, we hadn't seen it, so we didn't know a lot about it, but it was, in simple terms, what it would do is allow farmers, and this is basically the larger farms, not farm markets and those kinds of things, although they may want to do it too, but farmers could actually have an accessory use, which basically would be some kind of a combination. In her proposal originally, it would have been a fixed facility of some type. Now it looks like they're talking about something maybe mobile, so it's maybe skimmed down a little bit. The more important point is that pretty much most of the initial reaction was in opposition, including the Montgomery Agricultural Producers, which is the main group representing farmers. We work closely with them. Bob Sissel is their president, great guy, and we just felt that given the fact that he had a lot of concerns about it, and essentially they didn't want to negotiate, they just wanted it to be taken off the table. So it looks like what's going to happen is that they will have a hearing, and it's going on right now, actually. And then there will be a time, probably over the next several months, when they will take it off the table and consider it again quietly with some consultation going on, and probably try to reintroduce it sometime later this spring. That's where it stands at this
Well, I
point.
remember very well being at the Economic Forum, and it seemed to me that it was kind of a positive proposal to increase tourism, ag reserve tourism,
Yeah,
not to take space away from growing.
yeah. I think, Jeff, partly what happened was that it got introduced, and I don't think that there was enough consultation probably with enough groups ahead of time. And so there were some changes to it that Natalie, we met with Natalie Fanning Gonzalez too, by the way, to talk about our community center, but in that conversation, she did talk about the ZTA, and she admitted at that time that she was going to make some changes. One was probably something, as I said, sort of a change so that it wouldn't be a fixed building. It would probably be like what they call a yurt, which is more like a outdoor kind of a temporary shelter kind of thing. They actually have those in Black Rock Creek, Black Rock, our park already. So that's one of the changes she's accepting. She's also accepting changes about how much of the land could actually be covered by these buildings, so a very small percentage. You know, things like that, that probably if there would have been a little more consultation ahead of time, I think it probably could have been ironed out. But I don't think it's going to be dead. I think it's going to still get considered again. I think they're just going to take some time. We, in our economic forum, one of the things we talked a lot about, and Natalie agreed with this, and so did when we met with Kate, she said 100% agreed with us, is that aside from some specific ideas like that one to help with economy in our area, that there's a lot of information we need about how our economy works. And so what we are putting together, we're not going to take a position on the ZTA per se. We are going to say that it was an idea. It's certainly a positive in terms of what it's trying to do. Specifics about it need to be changed, but basically our view is that we need a lot more information about how our economy out here works. So we're proposing 4 studies that the council should look at, including one like we did with our co-op. Our co-op, as you know, has included in it a study that's based on anonymized GPS data. We actually know in our town now much better. You know, people go shopping out of town, where they go. We don't know which people they are, but we know they're going to Safeway and those are all important marketing things. We don't know anything like that about the Ag Reserve. We don't know where people are coming from, why they're coming here, what they visit when they're here, that kind of thing. So that's the kind of data we're looking for.
But I do remember when we were at the economic forum, I don't want to belabor the conversation, but there was a woman who made a really excellent, detailed presentation.
That's one of the ideas we're proposing, that she expand that study.
Oh, yes.
To get a lot more data beyond what that was just an initial swipe, and she admitted that. She only had initial data. So,
That was
yes.
information that we hadn't seen ever.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I was just going to add, Link, along those same lines, in this push for more economic data about the Ag Reserve, we are also asking the county to do kind of a better job of creating a plan and a strategy for the Ag Reserve. And right now, the focus has always just been on preserving agricultural land, but there hasn't been a lot of conversation about like to what end, and also, you know, what types of agricultural land do we want, like X% for it to be for ag tourism, X% for large scale production, X% for small scale farm production. Like there's not really a cohesive plan. And so before we look at these piecemeal zoning changes, the Fair Access Committee is asking the county to do a better job of coming up with a comprehensive plan for the Ag Reserve.
The other thing we mentioned too specifically, Jeff, is the zip code study that was done back in 2018. Very important study, as you know, helped identify initially some of the healthcare problems that we have. WUMCO's done a great job of actually expanding that information by the clinics they've held. We talked to Keisha Davis, the public health officer, and we're urging her to do an update of that study, because there's a lot of information we still don't know about this area in terms of healthcare.
Data is power. Once we had that data about healthcare, that's where we started to get the funding for our healthcare programs, and we got the county executive support for this community center that has the clinic in it. Once we have more data about how the Ag Reserve is functioning, then I think we'll actually have a lot more power to get the equitable services, including transportation, which is another area that we're
Right.
working on.
And this
But
kind of
without the data
proposal-
behind it, we can't push it forward.
Was it this?
And this kind of proposal, the ZTA too, would also be discussed, I think, a lot more knowledgeably and carefully if we actually had data, so we could say, well, is there really a demand for this? You know, we honestly
So
don't
that's where
know
we
either
want
way.
them to start.
So,
You know, we
yeah.
need more
Well, I
data.
remember, and was it this last Poolesville day when we had the breakfast, that the woman gave kind of a really eye-opening presentation on 20837, 20839, had the poorest healthcare outcomes in Montgomery
It
County.
was the
Yeah.
previous one, not the last one.
Yeah.
Previous one, thanks,
Yeah.
yeah.
That was Melissa. She's the WUMCO
Melissa
healthcare
Weidenhofer.
coordinator, yeah.
And,
Thank
and,
you.
What I'll jump in and say too, I think it's important that we continue to work closely with Don and Maryland, because the ag reserves fall within their districts, and when it comes to the ZTA, it was not something neither Don nor Maryland proposed.
Right.
And so when we're out communicating and looking at that information, it's important to realize that that proposal didn't come from the two people who have that district. And so now they're having much more discussions. We're also in a unique opportunity on this side of town as we continue to work, as WAMCO continues to lead, looking at addressing these healthcare needs, because what might be uncovered is that there's similar needs on the other side of the ag reserve from here. And then that puts us on this side in a position where we could do it and do it right. Then that can be a model for other parts of the county, which supports why you want to invest in it and make sure you get it right. So I think as we continue to move forward, that we continue to have those, build those relationships. I had an opportunity to spend some time talking to Don yesterday because I missed that meeting. And Don's very supportive of what we're doing here. And I think we've been very supportive of what Don and Maryland are trying to do as partners. And when we look at, I know we'll get into a little later when we look at the budget for fair access, but when we look at what's happened over the last 5 years in terms of building sustainable relationships with those in key positions to really take Poolesville seriously, making sure that they vote in a way that's favorable to Poolesville, this is why we do a lot of these activities at the fair access, so that we can have the outcomes that we're getting ready to experience. So Link, thank you for your leadership.
Thank you all for your support.
You guys, let's take this moment to thank Link. He's done a great job. Thanks, Link, for the testimony on that. And of course, Kevin's on the committee as well. My two fellow committee members here, everybody, thank you so much for the hard work you guys have been doing. We still have plenty in front of us, but we're the right people to do it. I just have a couple announcements, very brief ones, because you guys have talked about every single subject that I wanted to talk about, which is awesome. So St. Peter's, we mentioned them again. They're actually going to be doing a solar array dedication with their building coming up. That is at the end of this month on the last Sunday of the month. And, if you guys want to hear me drone on more, you can come to that dedication, because we'll be talking about how it works here for Poolesville and what a great job they've done taking a leadership role in embracing solar technology for their church and really making it something just like we've done down at our wastewater treatment plant. Wanted to say a double thanks to Titus again for doing a great job, as well as town staff for administering the contract the way we have. It's the kind of partnerships we've been looking for the whole time. They've been a great partnership. I'll give you an example too. The really windy day was a recycling day. A lot of recycling bins got knocked over. They came back through the next day and picked up all the trash that had been from the recycling bins. Now, I'm not saying that Bates wouldn't have done that. Bates wouldn't have done that. Wouldn't even have been close. Wouldn't have been close. They would have let it land in Darnestown. So, and that's where it was headed. So anyway, hats off to Titus Trash on that. And then the Fair Access Committee talked about it, but we are making this concentrated effort to talk to the various council members. They are going to be the backbone of the push to keep the money in the budget for our community center, as well as a bubble over the pool, and some of the other initiatives that we're working very hard on right now. So we've been told, Link and I have been to some of the meetings, and we've been told, be careful, if you ask for everything at once, you might not get anything. And I think Ed coined the phrase that we're looking for catch-up money. We're looking for money that should have been spent a long time ago. So this is a different paradigm, at least in our eyes. And we're here to get the money now that they essentially owe us for some of the things that should have been done some time ago. So we are pushing for, what's the name of the movie thing? Everything Everywhere All at Once. And we hope to win an Oscar and deliver some of this back in our hands here coming up. Community center is a huge step. Everybody in this room, anybody listening to me live, we all have to advocate for this as time goes on. The council members, each one of them are going to be pulled in every direction to try and direct funding potentially away from our projects to their projects. There is definitely not enough money to go around. When we get to talking about the pool bubble, I was talking to Niles and Wade today about a way that potentially the town could contribute to jump ahead of the other people that have municipal projects that potentially may be funded sooner than us. And we're working on some of those avenues right now because I firmly believe that, and we've been told, and it's been proven, that if I don't like the term skin in the game because it's kind of a double taxation, but if we're going to be able to get the projects that we want to get done and put bricks and mortar on the ground, we got to pitch in. So we're going to work on some avenues for that. You guys know, and I sent this out to an email to all the commissioners, we got a lot of stuff going on, right? We got a couple developments coming up this year. I would love to see Streetscape, even though Wade will start shaking his head right now on Streetscape, but love to see Streetscape get started. We've got a couple developments coming. We've got the funding for the community center we're going to be fighting all summer for. Obviously, the high school, if you guys go by it, it's an amazing situation over there. So we've got a lot happening. We've got to stay on our toes, and we're going to be a busy,
Update on the co-op?
yeah, coming up.
The water tower, yeah.
And I close with the co-op. No, Wade's going to hit the water tower for us, but that'll be so cool when the water tower gets unveiled. Wade, you couldn't answer today to tell me if the decal had been put on the water tower yet. Did you find that out or not?
The decal is not on yet.
Okay, good. That'll save me a trip up the ladder.
Don't do it.
It's up there, yes.
You should go check it out.
Yeah, I got it. You know how I am with that ladder. That ain't happening. No, so for the co-op, obviously we've got a lot of stuff, a lot of balls in the air, but Link and I have circulated a list of potential board members. We're kind of vetting that through. Colin Benson is finishing up our graphics and our renderings to give us an idea of what we are going to try to be selling to the public. So just like we did with the high school with fair access with the high school renderings, we've got renderings coming from a possible co-op. And once that gets in place, there'll be postings going out where we talk about and ask people, do you want to be a board member? And here are some of the requirements that we'll be looking for the board members. At that point in time, we're going to reconvene again, see how many people we have really interested in doing it, and then determine the size of the board and who's going to be on that initial board. What would be great is if we develop a leadership board that doesn't require Link and I to be the people running it. And if that's the case, then we can be advisors to it and keep doing our, well-rounded data collection, learning more, contributing to the board, et cetera. So we're really going to be looking for some leadership. We'll be putting it out there on Facebook and in various places, trying to see who's really interested. And it's got to be a little bit of everybody. It's got to be somebody that's got finance. It's got to be somebody that's got salesmanship. It's got to be somebody that has some grocery knowledge. It's going to be an interesting mix, but we're getting closer to it. Remember, it took Lovettsville 10 years to do theirs. I have no intention of having ours last that long. Hopefully we'll get on it before too long. I've also asked Wade and Niles to come up with, to talk to us about potential financing options, depending on how the thing goes, right? If we were to build something from complete scratch and we've got to pay for it, that's a different ballgame. If we get, say, a landlord at one of the shopping centers to build it, and then the co-op pays rent towards it, that means less money up front out of our pockets to do it. So then we'll need money for sustainable purposes. So a lot going on there, but thanks for the update. Thanks for the question. I was going to say something, or you were hoping.
I'm hoping.
Yeah, and we'll be, just stay tuned. It doesn't move as quick as we want it to, but more stuff is coming. Any other questions? Anything else, you guys? That was a great report. It feels like we haven't met for a month.
Feels like it.
Appreciate all the updates across the board from everybody to you too, Link. Public comment time, there's only one that signed up. It's Tom Kettler. You're not here to talk about anything that's on the agenda, Tom? This is going to be off agenda?
It isn't, but
Okay.
more of an announcement. Tom Kettler, 17917 Elgin Road, Poolesville, Maryland.
Like it. Does that mean you've moved in?
I've moved in, yeah.
There you go. Tom Keller's a Poolesville resident again. Good job, Tom. Welcome back.
Just wanted, in listening to what Link was saying,
It's like,
I'm actually here in my capacity as president of the Poolesville Area Chamber. We finished that the year, the 152 members, I think, and we're got a good jump on this year, but wanted to let the commissioners know, I think you've probably seen emails on it, but we're going to have haven't had it for a while because of COVID, but we're going to start back up our, our annual dinner, which we're having on February 1st in a couple of weeks at Crossvines. And I wanted to let you know, given what Link was saying, that we're going to, I've looked at the list already, and we've got Marilyn Balcom will be there, which will be great. And Evan Glass, who's, I think, past president council, he's also going to be there. So certainly you all are welcome. I know a couple of you have already RSVP'd, but I just wanted to get it out there. And certainly let you know the chamber is going to be very supportive of all the efforts of fair access relative to the community center and or the co-op or wherever else we can be of help. So that's all I got. Thanks for your time.
You guys, any questions for Tom? You guys have been a big help, Tom.
Yeah.
Great job on the chamber.
Appreciate it.
And you're
Thanks.
truly our partner in many ways.
Keep working on it. Thanks.
Yeah, we appreciate
Want to
it.
mention anything about the map and the signs?
We'll talk about that next.
Okay.
All right, thanks again, Tom. Appreciate it. Welcome back. I said, welcome back to the town, too. It's like you never left. He's just walking away. He's had enough of Jim. Okay, approval of the minutes, guys. We have the minutes of December 4th, the last meeting for 2023. They've been circulated. Does anybody have any questions on them?
No, you look good, read over 'em.
I make a motion we approve the minutes of the December 4th meeting?
Motion made. Do we have a second?
I'll second his motion.
Second from Ed. All in favor of approving the minutes of December 4th, 2023, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? None? Minutes have been approved, 5-0. All right, you guys, so under new business, we're going to be going over a few grant proposals as well as some budgetary items. As you guys know, this is the budget season. I don't think we're going to be prepared today to set up our March usual budget timeframe, or are we? I mean, we could talk about it, but we will get to that at the end of this. Again, we're going to be talking about budgets and grants right now, but commissioners, keep it in your head that we'll be likely getting together on a Saturday morning, as we traditionally do, to talk about the budget sometime in March. Fair enough, Niles, Wade? Okay, good.
Yep.
All right, very good. So the first up is, again, our newest employee, Tara Scholes, along with our one of our oldest employees. I mean, longest tenured. I meant longest tenured.
No messing with.
Right. Ladies, if you could, please give us your community events budget. To everybody, you know, this is online. You can see this right now if you need to see it, and go ahead.
May I ask a quick question? So this budget request is to start in July of 2024
That is correct.
for fiscal year 25.
Yep.
Correct.
All right.
Yeah, 24-25 fiscal year. Right. Gotcha. You're good.
Okay. $5 million, please.
Please turn off her microphone.
No, we are requesting $65,000 this year to cover Springfest, all of the 7 Friday on the Commons, Big Flea and Recycling Event, the Community Scarecrow Contest, Rocktoberfest, Holiday Lighting Ceremony, and the new Holiday Lighting Contest that we're hoping to start. This is a $5,000 increase from last year's budget of $60,000. There are a couple of consistent reasons why we are needing this increase, one of them being inflation. The rentals of tables and chairs, inflatables, anything to throw the events, they're continually increasing in cost. Also, for the events where we have sponsorship, we have seen a decline in that sponsorship last year especially. So unfortunately, we're not getting that, and so we're having to beef up the budget on our end a little bit. So Friday on the Commons, we want to have the new lighting contest, so that's the reason you're seeing the additional budget increase there, because we're going to need to have online software for voting for the community. There will need to be maps made and different things done, so there's a little bit of a startup cost there for the holiday lighting contest. And also, we are hoping to throw a spring kids event this year, so that will make that 7 events. We were unable to do that last year based on weather, unfortunately, so we're hoping for May this year so that we can get it in when the weather's nicer. We're thinking something to go along with the Potomac Hunt races, so having a kids event sort of themed around that, since it'll be in that time frame.
Great.
Also, we want to do a painted pumpkin just display in town. I know one of our community members had mentioned her hometown has done that. And we thought that was a really fun idea and make that something the kids and everybody can be involved in. So there might be a little startup cost there as well for the pumpkins. So that's kind of a quick overview of what we're looking at for this year. If you have any questions.
So Poolesville Day is just a completely separate spreadsheet or budget?
Yep,
Okay.
yep.
Same thing with our, with July 4th.
Yes, I was just saying that it was absent from the list as well.
I wasn't saying that just because you said that.
Of course not.
Does anybody have any other questions for Tara and Kathy? I just want to see I get this right. So we hire you, you come on board, and you ask for more money. Do I have all that right?
Correct.
You know, I warned you today.
Make no bones about it.
Yeah, I warned you today, I would say that. Yeah. No, Tara's done a great job coming on board. You guys, thank you for hiring her. Good job on staff to do that. Looking forward to working with you. And Kathy, you know, is irreplaceable, but I know you do the
I
best you
appreciate it.
can.
I only can hope to keep Kathy's legacy alive.
She's done a hell of a
She
job.
really has, and
There's
so
no doubt about it.
We hope to follow in her
Took
footsteps.
us from zero to hero on this whole thing, so I really appreciate it. Great job, both of you. So this is just for our consideration. It'll be part of our overall budget conversation. Thank you for your presentation. Any other questions?
No, this all covers it, thank you.
Yeah, great job. Great job. Appreciate it. So the piranhas, are you here? I heard like little chomping noises. Good to see everybody again. Good to see you too. So I take it we can hit you up as supporters for the bubble.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Okay, good. How about for funding?
Especially this time of year.
Funding, yeah, maybe not, Jim. Okay. Well, we will let you know how your advocacy can be used. So we'll come back to you. But thank you, and you guys, you know, very important members of our community.
Great.
Go ahead. We're all ears.
Good evening, Town Commissioners Wade and Niles. The swim team this year is applying for a $2,800 grant. This is a $300 increase over last year. Thank you for your continued support. This is year 3, I believe. We started off with a minor grant, last year a major grant, and this is our second major grant, so thank you. Last year we came a little bit later, but we made the budget cycle, so we've been invited back earlier for this season as well. We appreciate that as well. I'm Jeff McCluskey, I'm the team treasurer.
Everett Lee?
Adele Polson?
Great, thank you. We do have several sources of funding for our team. This isn't the only source, but the end of season ice cream social and awards is actually our largest team expense. So that's why we're partnering with the town on that. A couple things to note about what has changed over the team. Our athletic roster, right? So we're applying for funding now for a summer season. Going from 2022 to 2023, we saw a 45% increase in participants on the team. That's
Good.
It's huge, right? The good news is about 50% of the team is under age 10. I think this kind of aligns with the
awesome.
growth. With the growth of the town, we do have a lot younger swimmers. They're usually solo families, right? So they're the oldest of the family, quite possibly, starting swimming. So we still have younger siblings that will be participating in the team going forward as well. We've seen that in some of the data as well. Our event used to be hosted at Stevens Park, which is a great place to be. It's terrible in July when you have afternoon thunderstorms, and our event kicks off between 5 and 6 p.m. in the evening. So we've made the conscious decision to switch to the Poolesville Baptist Church for a lot of reasons. This gives us protection from the elements. We actually had a thunderstorm last year that actually was at that 5 to 6 o'clock range. So it was good that we made that switch last year. That does increase, obviously, the operational cost for the event. And without doubt, there's always some thunderstorms in July. We work very closely with the county rec department and aquatics. We're finding it more challenging to actually build a consistent fundraising program with them. There's a lot of rules and guidelines that we're still working through. So it's really unclear right now as we sort of head into this season, as we start planning for it, to see if we actually can reach agreement and alignment on that. So that's the reason, more importantly, why the funds are really crucial for the team. And then, we gathered feedback last year. Sarah, you brought up data earlier. We asked all of our participants in the event to kind of give us some open text feedback. And it was clear to us that we actually do a great job of rewarding sort of our most competitive swimmers, but a lot of families really wanted to receive more recognition. That could be through presentation in the award ceremony, or actually giving everybody a participant award for participating in the season. So we've included those additional costs in the budget as well. That's really all we had for the year this
And
year.
do most of your competitions take place right at the Sarah Hour pool?
Yep, so about half of the season is at home, the other half's in visiting or away pools. That's correct.
And how do you get the kids from, if it's not here at Sarah Hour, how do you get them from?
Mom and dad,
Oh, parents drive.
parents.
exactly, yep.
Cool, very good.
So is
Yeah.
this request for the fiscal year '25?
Yeah, so it would be July.
After the
that's correct.
season,
Okay.
right?
That's right.
And so then, last year, you guys asked for how much?
2,500, that's.
And then you returned some, I think?
We did, so we had unused funds, so we returned it back to the town, back to the budget, that's correct.
Okay, very good. Did you guys have questions, commissioners?
I do have one question.
I don't.
And then, how much did you return to the?
$443, that's correct.
Okay. And then, so question I had.
Sure.
Is just in terms of just the management, internal management, and then when you look at the awards, because something got brought to my attention, I try to talk to a couple people, encourage folks to work it out within that group.
Sure.
But then some things that came up about awards, and then how parents are reimbursed for awards, and you familiar with what I'm talking about?
Yeah, so we have an accurate accounting of all expenses throughout the season, that's correct, in our books and records.
And do you all have a formal structure of who is, like, is there a person who is in charge, or a person that is, or is it committee, or how is that set up?
Yes, we have a couple different layers. I'm the treasurer, so I have access to our bank account statements. We have other signers on the account as well. We are the operating group for the team. If you're familiar with the way the team is structured, all participants pay the county a fee. The county provides certain resources. We cover the difference. We're the booster club of the team, that's correct.
All right, and then just in terms of decision-making, how does that?
Yeah, we have a governing body as well.
You have a governing body?
That's correct.
All right, and so just looking at, so the piece that came to me, and I reached out to who I thought might have been the representative with the county, and I'm happy to talk with you as well. Just if you have a parent who went out and purchased awards, and then there's an issue that came about reimbursement, and did the town provide funds that would help for awards? I'm like, yeah, we provide funds that would help for awards. And then there was one that, I guess some people did not get reimbursed.
So the way we handled this season is we did a accurate accounting of all the expenses, and we returned all funds that were not used. That's correct.
And so
So there's a process.
Right. Tell me about the
So
process.
when anyone spends anything. So for example, I was a B rep, I also coordinated all the social events. We have a budget line item for the ice cream socials, for the pep rallies, right? One of the social events. I discussed it with the organizing body. I said, here, we're gonna go buy some tablecloths and some tattoos and whatever for our little pep rally. And everybody said, yep, sounds good. I bought them, got my Amazon receipt, submitted it to Jeff, I got reimbursed. So and that went for everything, down to the decorations for the ice cream social.
That's correct,
And how
yep.
many tablecloths are we gonna buy, and how much are they, and does that sound reasonable? Yep, go ahead and buy them. So that's the process. And
So-
there was some confusion with the awards, but it was handled.
Right.
We listed out all of the eligible awards. Jeff itemized it, and we paid back for the eligible awards.
All right, and what makes it eligible, ineligible? How does that work?
So out of respect, I think we have a formal budget process. We have a way for individuals within the organization to get reimbursed, and it's clearly identified, right? Every organization observes this. We're fiduciaries for the team. We have access to a tax ID that we file taxes against. Every process is the same, whether it's for $1 or for $100. We follow the same process for every single item in our budget.
All right, and so that process is, you have it laid out, they come and get approval first?
That's
Before
correct, yeah.
making a purchase?
That's correct. Great, any further questions?
No, I just wanted to say, because you and I are in the PACC together, and I don't want to say what your position is incorrectly, but you are a fiduciary responsible, I forgot your title,
You mean,
your job.
yeah, I don't think,
No.
sorry, as a community member, you're right. So as the treasurer of either this or the Chamber of Commerce,
Yep.
you're acting as a fiduciary capacity, right? Which requires checks and balances and a process which requires, setting your budget. Tom and I work, with you, Jeff, to kind of do that for the chamber.
Yep.
We're doing the same thing with the swim team.
Yep.
And everything needs a justification, approval before you move forward to do anything. That's correct. Yep.
No, I was just wanted to, add to your credit, not that you needed anybody, add to your credibility, but you work for Edward Jones?
That's Mark. I work for Trust Wealth. That's correct.
Okay. Yep.
That do it for you? Thank you for the presentation.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
And appreciate your hard work on behalf of the team, too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep,
We're going to
and,
consider these various requests, was it in March?
yes, yep. They'll be part of our budget work session, each one of them.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you for that. Before I get to fair access, I'm going to go to Poolesville Day budget request. Kevin, are you okay with skipping and going forward? Is that you?
Sure.
And then, because Link will be taking a little bit longer, I know.
Yeah.
And Kevin, did the barber shop in town close, or?
No, I had my
What's,
hat on and I didn't comb my hair.
Come on.
I've just never seen his hair that long in the entire, 20 years. Jeff, if you could, okay, there it is.
All right.
I've known him for 20 years, and I don't know.
Fine.
Yeah, it looks good.
Next time I'll come.
I wish I could.
Jim just wishes he had the.
I do.
Yeah.
And that color. I really do. All right, Kevin. I've been sitting the whole meeting. I've been sitting there.
Yeah, you're like, what the heck?
Say something or not, but then I recognized who it was.
All right, I'm Kevin Schramm, representing the Poolesville Day Committee.
Sorry.
We are lone committee on this meeting tonight because we are not asking for a raise. We're going to ask for the same amount, same amount as last year. But before I get started and delve into my presentation, I want to thank Kathy Buck for all of her years as community event coordinator and played a huge part in helping Poolesville Day every year for 15 years or so? And
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Well deserved.
Good job.
And we're looking forward to working with Tara. We'll put her over the coals next week, next 2 weeks or so. And we also want to thank, Preston and Warfield and Rick and all the guys at the staff is just amazing. What they do for Poolesville Day is incredible. They're here full force on Saturday. Every employee. It's excellent. Last year was tough, as I wrote in my request letter. We remember that well. But we had some good lessons learned. For 30 years, Poolesville Day was perfect weather, sunny, no problems.
No win.
Well, this year we had a little bit of a weather issue.
Opportunity.
So we encountered things we never encountered before, like, what's the chain of command? How are we going to close the road? How are we going to open the road? How are we going to notify the vendors? How are we going to notify the community members? All that. So we're going to have a better plan going forward. We're going to create an emergency preparedness plan. We're going to have some meetings with hopefully Wade and Niles and Preston and the fire department, Scott Graham, and we'll have hopefully some police department presence and come up with a game plan, because it might be not be just weather, but any kind of emergency. We need a plan in place for such an event like this, because over 10,000 people coming, all-day event. So that's a good thing that came out of last year. As you know, we offered all of our vendors, what do we have, 150, 130? 180. It was a tough call. We can't really postpone an event like Poolesville Day. So many moving parts, so many wheels going. You can't just put the brakes and try to hop back on the track the next week. So, and do we cancel? Do we put it on? I think we made a good decision in going forward. The 5K that opened the Poolesville Day had, I think, the most runners ever. That's great. And that rainy week. Poolesville Day breakfast was a great success. That's a very important part to the advocacy of fair access and what they do. That brings all the politicians in town. It's a good way to start Poolesville Day. And we had a parade. The parade was very enthusiastic. We had about half the people who signed up for the parade participate. And the people who set up booths and participated was great. So Poolesville Day was great till about 1 o'clock, and then the high winds came in. We had to consider tents being blown around and all that, so we decided to shut down at 1 o'clock. We're in pretty good shape financially because of the leadership of Bernie Mim, and he's our sponsor coordinator. So he really did a good job of, and the committee as well, doing a good job of getting sponsor money. And last year was some of the highest amount we received than previous years. Yeah, sorry.
You got to do better.
So we feel like we're in good shape. All the committee members are returning, except Bridget Ramazan, who's was security coordinator last year. She's going to step down, and we thank her for her. She did a great job stepping in. She did it for 2 years, and we're excited. Committee of 24 strong. Everyone's motivated.
Thank
So
you.
my-
Yeah.
And you also organized, because the Poolesville Day, of course, was kind of half the day.
Yes.
Following, next 2 weeks or something, you had a number of, probably.
Yeah, so-
40 vendors at the fire station.
Yeah,
We
'cause-
had our open house.
Yep, our vendors, we've had vendors for 30 years, 20 years. Always really good at Poolesville Day and a good partnership with them. And some of them lost the normal profits they see in their selling of knickknacks and things. So we wanted to give the fire department opened up, hey, we're having an open house next week, invite your vendors. So we did that, and that was I think we had 40
That
show up.
worked out really well.
Yeah,
Yes.
it might be something we do this year as well. Yep, so, looking positive this year. We're going back to the third Saturday in September, which is what we always do. Last year, we had to move it back a week, because of the holiday observance. So we're back to the third Saturday, which should mean perfect sunny,
Yeah.
80-degree
That-
weather.
I mean, that was the problem.
Yeah, yeah.
You threw off our groove.
So any questions?
Sarah, do you have?
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you to you and the rest of the committee. It's always amazing. It's such a highlight of our year.
Yeah.
And the towns. So am I understanding this correctly, that anybody who participated as a vendor last year, you are not going to charge them vendor fees for this coming year?
Correct. So we have our first meeting in about 2 weeks. And we're going to start our monthly meetings in earnest all the way till Poolesville Day.
Right.
We're going to try to come up with a game plan for how to tackle that. What we'll probably do is open up a window of time, maybe a couple weeks, for vendors who signed up last year. Do you want to come back free of charge? Yes or no?
Got it.
If they say yes, within the appropriate time, they're in. And then we'll open it up for new people
Got it.
after that.
And so even with that loss of income, 15,000,
Yes.
you're saying you still have enough funding?
So historically, the Poolesville Day has asked for 20,000
Okay.
a year. When I came on board, my first year, I asked for 25. And then last year, I asked for 35. So we have a little surplus
Okay.
from last year because we asked for more than we historically
You're going to
did.
be okay even with that 15,000?
Yes, because, like I said, we cost about 50 to 55,000. So we have some money left now, and with our sponsors, if we get another 14,000, we should be in that range to have about 65,000. We'd like to have a cushion of about 8 to 9,000 in the bank from year to year, just to cover anything that might
Yeah.
come up or,
Things need to be replaced. I get it.
yeah, we don't want to bring the balance down to zero each year. The goal is to stay a little bit above that.
Kevin, you gonna keep rates the same, or you gonna, for?
Yeah, so
new
rates are
people?
going to stay the same. So all the old vendors who participated, not participated, but signed up and paid, they're free.
They're free, but then your new vendors.
New vendors will be the same as
This
last
allows
year.
it.
Because we did 2 consecutive years of increases.
Okay.
I think now we're at a point where we don't have to add that third consecutive year of increases.
Oh, great job. Keep it up.
Yeah, great job.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Questions for Kevin? So we'll, of course, we'll take the budget request under consideration at our, as we go through the budget process. And I do want to thank you, and on behalf of the commissioners, again, for your great leadership. You know, another amazing steward of Poolesville Day over the 30 years. We've had some great ones from Jake Perkins through you, Bridget Burke, Bryce, of course, Faith.
Faith, yep.
Yeah, so, I mean, we just had, who am I missing? Kathy, who am I missing out of that group? That's pretty much it.
Yeah, that's it.
So that you're talking about, one of the most important things we do in Poolesville. So thank you so much for that. And
Yeah, it's
Right,
the
yeah, that's right.
Steelers' head coaching job. You got to stay for like
Right.
15, 20
right,
years.
exactly. As I said, since 1969, we've only had 5. No, really appreciate the work. And of course, we'll take it under consideration, but we know you guys are well organized. It's our biggest day. And we look forward to, making the money happen for you guys again.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, thanks again. Appreciate it, Kevin. All right, very good. So, post-prom, are you ready to come on up there, young lady?
Hello, it's so nice to see everybody on both sides
Yep.
of the desk.
Good seeing you again.
Lynn, good to see you.
I'm Lynn Shaver. I'm here to represent Post Prom. Going going to take off my dance teacher hat and put on my sunbagger hat.
Did you guys have dance tonight?
We did not have dance.
Okay, good.
Kevin, take care.
So I did have.
See you, Kevin.
The afternoon off, but
Yep.
I did great, so that more than made up for it.
All right, good.
But I'm here to once again ask for the town's support. As you know, our high school is under renovation this year, and our gym will not be available for post-prom. So that significantly changes how we're going to do things, and of course, increases our costs, because having it at the high school really makes it a much more affordable event. So we are asking, although now that I'm listening to everybody else, I don't think I asked for enough. We're
not necessarily getting.
I'm just saying, anyway, but
Isn't that what you
we're
asked
always
for,
so
what you
grateful
get?
because Poolesville, I always say, we live in a magical town, and I don't know how we ever put this event on by the skin of our teeth, but more by the good graces
job.
of the people that live in this town. So we are asking this year for $3,500 with the expectation that we will be finding a place to host this event within the AG Reserve. We are very big on using our dollars or the dollars that you give us to put back into our community whenever possible, buying gift cards from local vendors, using the businesses of our local residents. But again, we don't know where we're going to have this because it's an event that happens from 11:30 to 3:30 a.m. Oh my! So I don't know if we're living our own youth vicariously or just crazy enough to want to stay up that late with our high schoolers. But we are looking for a local place to hold the event, and that's the reason for the increase in the ask. So it's on May 17th. Prom will be at the Bethesda Marriott. So we'll be bringing and asking all of our students to come back here to Poolesville. Every year since we started it back up in COVID, we've had an increase in attendees, which is great. So, we're hoping to have even more this year and being able, to make the event spectacular and keep our kiddos safe on prom night.
Great. We truly appreciate your running it, and I want to be the first one to volunteer at one of Tom Kettler's model homes. To hold the post-prom.
We only need space for about 3 feet.
He said yes. I mean, I know one of those has got a 4-car garage, so.
How many students
The
attended
backyard,
last
right,
year?
Jim? The
Yeah.
backyard.
So we kind of hovered around the 300 mark, which was up from the first year it was resurrected after COVID, which of course was a special event.
Yeah.
So if anybody local wants to put it in the backyard, I promise our kids are amazing. They clean up. And you got a big yard here.
I don't know. Al is the only one I know who's crazy enough.
Right? Look, gazebo.
With a barn, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Warren, yeah. Yeah, Kaleva.
Volunteer
Right,
Kaleva.
Kaleva is what you're talking about.
Let
Yeah.
Al know.
Yeah, we did have it at Kaleva during COVID year.
Okay.
We will be revisiting them again, but again, cost is always.
Always the Jim Clifford's barn, too. I don't know how he'd feel about it, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we're gonna approach, that's
Explore all your
kind of on my
options.
agenda to do this with our other committee members, is to really kind of seek out some good fun places. We don't know a theme, obviously that will kind of be dependent on where we have, it might be a hoedown this year, which could
that'd be
really
fun. Well, when you actually get the details nailed down, get with me and I'll do my usual
We will.
pledge drive.
Absolutely, so appreciate that.
Awesome, and again, really appreciate the leadership, and thanks for the conscientious ask. And we wish you all the luck finding the right place to have it. Any other questions?
Yeah, sure. I just one comment. So last year I had that privilege of volunteering at those late night hours. Somebody talked me into it, right? But it actually, it was great to be able to see the kids there, and I think I'd stayed to the late night hour
you
and then
did.
on the cleanup. And
Yeah.
so, but once again, knowing that there's a safe place for our kids to hang out and just all the work, despite the construction that was taking place, all the different rooms, everything that committee laid out, I think they did a really great job. And so it's a great time for other folks who might want to volunteer to come up. But in all actuality,
We all
though,
just look down the line.
right, everyone looks
Yeah,
down the
like-
line.
And we
So-
do offer coffee at that hour.
Yeah, but it was a great experience, though, to do that, to watch what they do and to have something. If you can find something that's local, where the kids don't have to really drive at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning trying to get back home. So I think it's a great thing.
Probably a good thing to have a paramedic there, too. Do we know anyone like that?
Oh, hey, yeah.
Sounds like a good fit,
Good
Jeff.
idea. Yeah, good fit, right?
And so, Jim, Jim will put in, I won't put in as much as Jim, but I'll put in some.
Okay.
There you go.
I'm gonna hold you all to it.
Yeah, that's good.
All right,
We really appreciate it. Thank you, Lynn, for everything you've done and your contributing, continuing to do this because it is such a big deal. So we really appreciate it.
It is. Thank you guys very much.
Thanks, Lynn.
Thank you.
Yeah, good seeing you again. Thank you. All right, so thanks for that, you guys. So fair access time, and Link, you're back up on the dais again. Oh, look at the lady slipping out.
I did want to mention, by the way, that one of our early and founding members really was Lynn Shaber. So I wanted to
Yes.
thank her for being a Fair Access Committee
Yeah.
member. She helped us get to where we are today, so. And I would also be remiss if I didn't mention that Kevin Schramm told me at church last Sunday that he is not renewing his membership on the committee either, so. And that's real below, because Kevin is, again, a founding member and has been with us the whole ride. He helps run our Muster campaign, which is our community email campaign system. He said he'll still do that, but he just hasn't got the bandwidth now with Poolesville Day, so. And also, it looks like Maria is not going to renew McGuire, so we got 2 members we need to find. Both have been great members and contributed so much, so I want to thank them both.
Absolutely.
One thing I did want to mention before we get,
Open up,
Pardon me?
before you move on, Link.
Yeah.
When will those spots open up?
there's, all of us for January, so they're technically, both of them are gone as of now, so.
Okay,
So
so
we have 2
that's
open.
something
Yeah.
that Niles can post on the website and
Yeah.
begin that process. Anything else?
I did want to mention too, just to comment on what Lynn said about the school, because you may not be aware of this, in terms of why they can't use the gym. The school project was broken into 2 parts. There's a phase 1 and phase 2. Phase 1 is getting the classrooms done, and that's far and away the most important part. That will be done in spring break. So they're moving the kids into the new classrooms in spring break. And we're working with the principal right now on some kind of an event to celebrate that. At the same time, the principal's talking about installing a plaque commemorating the 15 African Americans who integrated Poolesville High School back in 1956. It could be part of the same day, or it could be another event tied to it, but, all really important. Phase 2 is actually the administration part of the building and a lot of the old part of the library, and also, most importantly, the gym. So that's why they can't use the gym, because they're going to begin to deconstruct the old one and put a new one up. And we're working with the principal on that too, because we want to have a community presentation of some type so everybody can see what the new design looks like. It's substantially larger, as you know, but also it's configured differently, so we want to make sure the Booster Club knows where the snack bar will be and where the new gym's location will be, the new locker rooms, all that kind of thing. So we're working on that as well. So I just wanted to give you an update on that. Kevin was wrong, we're not asking for an increased budget either. We are asking for the same amount we asked for last year. When we started for Access, just to give you a little history, actually, the first year was 80 or 85,000 is what we asked for. So we have increased it a little bit, but it's 5 years running, and it's pretty much the same amount every year since we started, maybe within 5 or 10,000. So we asked for about 95 last year, we're asking for the same this year. If you look at it in context of what I think the committee has done in terms of return on the dollar, for every dollar we have gotten in our budget, we're returning $246 to the town. If you look at how much money we're putting into the school, if you add the community center, which we hope we get as well, that add even more to the success of the committee. So, and again, I've got to commend all the committee members. It wasn't just Kevin and Lynn, it was also people like Jerry Klobakowski, who was one of the founders too, early on. So all those folks helped us get launched and helped us get to where we are today. I think you've got the budget, you've got our annual report, so you got a sense of what I think we accomplished this year, but also the media part of it, so you know what we did in terms of the media. I'd point out that you'll see that the budget's broken into several parts. One is for Foundry. Not all that money always goes to Foundry. We just have that set aside. If we need it, we do pay them when they do actually do work. They're not paid a stipend. I did manage PR firms when I was in Verizon for years. Some firms actually work that way. They get a $5,000 whether you use them or not. We don't do that. Foundry only gets paid when they actually do work. And they only usually do work when we have something come up like a media request for an interview or social media after we do testimony. They will actually make sure things are posted. They put stuff on Instagram. A lot of the council staff, the young staff, really focuses on Instagram and TikTok, not stuff I know a lot about, but luckily Foundry does. So they make sure our testimony gets out there, any statements that we have get out there, so that the council staff picks it up too, which is, I think, another critical part of why we've been successful, is the media part of it and the social media part of it's really important. And that's largely been Foundry. If you look at what we did on things like the White's Ferry, even though we haven't been successful, I think the fact that we've gotten the continuing attention of the county is to a large degree because we've continued to get media pressure on that issue. It hasn't borne success, and that, I don't think that's anybody's fault in this room or its founder's fault either. I think our statement was right. It was the two parties that are in the middle of the negotiations that were really at fault here. But the fact that we kept that media pressure out there and continued to do interviews and didn't let up, I think also kept the county focused. Sarah's right, there hasn't been progress that we can announce yet, but we do know that the DOT for the county is still negotiating with the landowner in Virginia. As Jim always says, that's maybe the latest bauble, and maybe it won't result in anything either, but the fact that they're continuing to do it says a lot about the pressure that we've been able to put on them. So we have, the budget, if you look at it, is really broken into several segments. One is for Muster, that's our community email system that we use to try to get community members to respond and send emails. We had 3 Muster email campaigns this year that I put a report, I noted that. When we did Muster initially 3 years ago, the first time we did it, we got over 700 emails almost immediately for the school. So it depends on the issue. Sometimes you're going to get a lot of uptick, and honestly, on White's Ferry, even though we've done it, it's harder to get people to, frankly, dig in on that one, because I think a lot of people are just dissatisfied and disgusted at this point. But on the school, we've continued to get good Muster email campaign responses, and I think we will in the community center too, especially since WMCO's a partner with us on that. I think we're going to continue to use that as a key part of what we do. The other 2 parts of it, in terms of how we break it out, is the events part, which is primarily the breakfast, but also our holiday event, which has become more and more popular. Last year, we had about 40 people. This year, about 45 people. We had several council members both years. The first year we did it, we got the county executive. He couldn't make it this year because he's at another event, but so that's also proved to be important. Also, within that events budget, occasionally we'll have things that come up like this event we had this year on the Economic Forum. You don't expect it, but you are thinking that maybe we'll have to do something to tie some issue down, and that's what happened in this case. Lily Chi and Natalie Fanning Gonzalez and several council members wanted to do something on the ag reserve economy. It tied in with what we've been trying to do to try to create a bigger picture about the Western County and the hub and spoke economy and how this economy works, why we need more resources in the town of Poolesville. They all kind of tied together. So that's why we did that event. That event, probably when you get it all done, was probably around $6,500, plus that includes the rental of the facility. So I think it was money well spent, because if you look at who we had attending there, we had a lot of elected officials and bureaucrats from the state level, including the Secretary of Commerce. So, I think it was a great turnout and it helped us a lot. Part of the reason we do those events, to be honest with you, is not just to get attention on our issue, but also to meet them where they are. You get politicians to come out and see you, see our town, see what's going on out here. That's really important. So that's why we have this money in the budget for those kind of events, because I think it helps a lot to keep our name in front of them. Finally, a lot of the work we do is honestly not budget related. It's mostly emails, and it's mostly just outreach and getting to know people. Luckily, people like Sarah and Ed know some of the council members and have good relationships with them. It helps a lot. Jim, of course, does too. And that's what we rely on a lot too, is the personal relationships. It's not just budget and spending. It's also constantly sending texts to them, sending emails, talking to them. So today, for example, when the announcement came out about the community center, I got a text from Andrew Friedson about it, and congratulated us. Marilyn Balcom congratulating us. So we know they're in our corner. We know we got to keep doing that. That's how we got the attention and the level of support we've gotten. Finally, just to close it out, one of the reasons I think Fair Access has been so successful too is that we changed the paradigm of how our town is seen down county. And it's not just with Fair Access alone, but it's also the way we have gotten their attention continuously. So I used to, when I was in PTA, I'm a 25-year member of PTA, a life member, and we went down every year and testified. We held the signs up at the Board of Education, and we thought, hey, and we made an impact. And the truth is, you don't make an impact, because they see your signs, you leave, another group comes in, they put signs up, it's over and over again. We've changed that paradigm, because now we don't just do the signs, we constantly meet with them, we text them, we email them. As Ed said, we've had several meetings this last couple of weeks with council members face-to-face, either with Zoom or down at the council offices. We're constantly letting them know We think we've got issues that you need to be a part of and you need to be supportive of. It's all changed the paradigm, I think, because this budget helps support that. And I thank all of you for your support, because all of you being at our events and meetings just lets them know that the town of Poolesville is behind this as well, and that's critical, frankly. So thank you for all your support.
I might just add 2 cents in that Chief Graham invited Marilyn Balcom to the fire station's holiday dinner, and Marilyn was there. And so it was really, I think, really heartwarming to have one of our council members come to the fire station for a holiday dinner in person and meet everybody. And, you know, he gave a little talk about what's happening in Poolesville and the up-county area. And it was really greatly appreciated that she took the time to come. So person to person really makes a difference.
Yep.
Good. Link, again, thanks for everything you've done. You guys have seen his budget proposal and his basically report on what's happening with Fair Access. Questions from anybody in the commissioners?
No, just thanks.
Great job.
Thanks for everything, and
Yeah.
I've read your request, it looks good.
Thank you. Thank you all for all your support. I really do mean it. It's vital. It really is vital.
Yeah.
I mean, one thing, you can ask Marilyn this, one thing that she will say over and over is that the difference too is it's not just Fair Access Committee or the community, it's that we have an elected commission. We have a town that has elected officials. It makes a big difference with the county officials, so thank you for what you do.
Our texts back and forth say all the time, the power of the municipality.
I think one thing, Link, that you left out too, though, is that Link has worked tirelessly
I
to
know.
really fortify a relationship
Yeah.
with the Board of Education, right? And from the, just ongoing, and I know when you went in and we were setting up for them to do their summer leadership meeting over here at your church. And so there's so many things that Link will do behind the scene, and just in these last almost 4 years, working with Link and watching him and then being able to work with him. But that relationship that he's cultivated, not just with the Board of Education, but also with the superintendent. And so to the point where, hey, I'm hearing this about the school, we need some answers, and being able to cut through all the bureaucracy, I think that attests to the work that Link has done. So.
I agree, and that reminds me that those of us, we all got to talk about the superintendent a little bit after. We'll talk offline about
Yeah.
that. I just heard some interesting things. So, anyway, Link, thank you so much, you guys. Commissioners, great support. Appreciate it. You all, everybody's making it happen. So, and community too out there. Thank you for your support as well.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, Link. Appreciate it, buddy. Good stuff. All right, we don't have any more grant requests, do we, in the House?
I don't think so.
No.
Nope. Okay, good. That means we're going to go to water and wastewater capacity reports. It'll be Wade or Niles, whichever one of you guys is going to lead us off.
I'll jump in there. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yeah, you're a little muffled. It's not perfectly clear, but it's still good enough.
Okay. So let's start out with the sewage capacity report. I think you all have a copy of that. This is a report that comes out every January, and it averages the annual flow we've had in the previous years. This is required by the Maryland Department of the Environment, and the methodology we use is to actually calculate a 3-year rolling average, which actually accounts for seasonal averages that change each year to kind of level the flow out with our rainfall. So you can see in the report, I've listed the previous 3 years, and the 3-year rolling average turns out to be 514,000 gallons per day. We do have a permit for 750,000 gallons per day of discharge. So the methodology moving forward, we go ahead and discount or take off the actual allocations that have been allocated to different properties, and we have the Donegan property, some smaller infill properties, and then we have a couple preliminary plans that we need to count also, even though they're not moving forward yet. But the total of all of those allocations come to about 59,000 gallons per day, a little bit over. So that leaves us a net available wastewater capacity of 176,000 gallons per day. Now, it's just interesting to note that when the 750,000 gallon per day permit was issued by MDE, there was a kind of a buffer built into it of 100,000 gallons per day to allow for I&I, which is infill and infiltration from rainfall. So truly, we have about 76,000 gallons per day of capacity in the wastewater plant that we would not want to allocate beyond that point.
Wait, can I ask a couple of questions?
Absolutely.
Well, I numbered the pages so I can ask my questions now. On the page 1, where it says commercial allocations, Donegan, is that
Yes.
the 31 townhomes that's near CVS, behind Tractor Supply?
Correct.
Okay. And, and then down at the bottom of that same page, where it says the net available wastewater capacity, 176,122 gallons per day. I want your, kind of feedback on this. Is this it seems like it's a very thin margin.
No, not really. This would be typical. So we're within that 80% that we know that we have available capacity for. So we have a wastewater management plan that we do have, but there is a built-in buffer of 100,000 gallons per day.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I really heard that properly. Okay, so I have a couple other questions, but they're on different pages, so I guess if you could, you can proceed. Thank you.
Okay, so really, the first page is kind of a cheat sheet to kind of make it all simple to understand. The second pages are the acronyms and the million gallons per day calculations that is required by the Maryland Department of Environment, but it says the exact same thing.
Well, can I ask another question then, Wade?
Sure.
And I numbered the pages, like I said, I get lost without numbers, so, and we did I think it was called the American Rescue Fund, was the name, Niles?
Yep.
And it was a large I&I project, and it was completed some months ago. And I kind of, when I was looking at these numbers, I kind of expected to see like a really dramatic reduction, and maybe I'm just looking at it wrong, and I don't, read the numbers properly, but was there a dramatic reduction after spending that money?
Absolutely. If we went back over 10 years, you would see that we have created over 120,000 gallons per day of capacity by doing the I&I work. So yes, it's been very successful. Yeah, just going back and taking a look at it, we had some years that we were up over 700,000 gallons per day for an annual average, and those days are long gone.
Okay, so you're kind of saying that looking at it just 1 month is too fine of a lens. You need to look at it more of a larger trend.
Yes, absolutely. That's why we do this each year with a 3-year rolling average. And if you were to go back over a 10-year period, you would see a big difference, especially if you put it against the amount of rainfall that we do have. But yeah, the actual capacity has increased each year for the last several years.
And I know it doesn't say it on here, but what's the next I&I project? Do you have any idea?
So after you go through a construction project and you do a certain amount of I&I, then you have to go back and start monitoring, and you go through the whole process again because new areas pop up with different leaks. So right now we're going through the monitoring process. We have several monitors deployed through manholes throughout town, and we're calculating data. Of course, we had to wait for a rain period, which we finally just started to receive again, so we could start doing this monitoring and narrow it down. You start out by capturing a larger area, and then you move the meters to a smaller area where you kind of pinpoint is where we are now. We've really wiped out major portions of it by relining all of Westmont, relining all of Westerly, and then all of Fisher Avenue was the last one we did, and Elgin Road, the older areas. So it is getting down to a finer detail to try to narrow it down and identify exactly where it's coming from.
And I don't know, maybe go one more question. I don't know, maybe I read it, now I can't find where I put my notes. Or maybe I just had a bad experience here. But was there some discussion in your report about annexation?
No.
Okay, good. Glad to hear that. Thank you. I hope I just, yeah.
That's a big one to throw out there, Jeff.
I thought I read that.
Woo!
Just started, Jeff.
That's right. Yeah, right.
Don't put that there.
Yeah, don't.
Yeah, no,
Okay,
that must have been a nightmare rather than a,
Yeah, that's fine. It's good to get clarity. I like it. All
yeah, okay.
right, go ahead, Wade.
Okay, so that was the sewage one. So that's the easy one, really. Now we talk about the water capacity report. This one here is not required by Maryland Department of the Environment, so we do it on our own, and we submit it to them just to make sure that we're not over allocating our resources. So using the same methodology again, so we have a permit for 650,000 gallons per day to withdraw with a maximum month of 920, which we've never reached, thank goodness. So we're looking at a 3-year rolling average. Now with this one here, obviously you can see that the numbers are increasing each year because of the number of households are increasing. Funny thing is, between 22 and 23, we really didn't bring any new houses online, but the number went way up. And that was just because of the lack of rainfall and a lot more outside watering was used. So that's another good reason to have that 3-year rolling average. It's going to account for those types of seasonal variances that we do have occurring. So our 3-year rolling average for the water is 541,000 gallons per day. So you see, Jeff, it is quite a bit larger than what the sewage is actually, about 30,000 gallons. So we're going to go ahead and subtract off all the exact same preliminary plans approved and units in the townhomes that we discussed earlier. And we come down to we have available capacity of 49,000 gallons per day. Now, it's also worth noting these water allocations are actually granted by the commissioner. So Willard and Harts, those two subdivisions have been approved for allocation, but the Bricken property, who was just approved by the planning commission for a preliminary plan, has not been approved, and they will be coming forward, as well as some other preliminary plans that are under review right now. Everybody has the availability or the opportunity to go through a review process, but sometimes those plans have to sit on the shelf until we know that we have adequate water or resources to hand out. So on the second page, as we move down, if there are any questions on this first page, actually, before I move on?
Well, I have a question about, maybe I should ask Martin, but is the Bricken property across from West Willard?
Yeah, it's out West Willard,
Across Willard,
yeah.
Across the west of the Grove?
Not long before you get to, not long before you get to Crossvines on the right
Oh,
side of the
okay.
road.
But do they know that they don't have allocation?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Are they in the, just, and this is a silly question, but are they in the town of Poolesville?
Mhm.
Well, they are. Oh.
It's the outer edge. The Bricken
edge.
property is the border on the far side.
Oh.
We wouldn't, the planning commission wouldn't have any jurisdiction
Yeah,
over something that wasn't
yeah.
in the town.
I thought so, okay. And I'm going to ask the same question again, Wade, is 49,000 gallons per day seems like a very thin margin.
It is. That's a very thin margin. And yeah, once I move on forward, you'll see that, yeah, I'm recommending, well, there's a lot of things that come into play with that, yes.
And one other thing is, I know Martin asked this before, and I know I knew that I had read it, but I didn't know where. So on the very last page, which again, I numbered the pages, is page 8. It says the EPA has proposed a maximum PFAS level of 4 parts per trillion. I know I had read that, but I just didn't remember where I saw it. So, and I know that we have, well 2 and well 3 exceeded that number, so they're having remediation right now.
So well 3 is under remediation right now, and well 2 is offline, but we're currently working on the plan to remediate well
Okay.
2 as well.
All right. And just another question about that. So with the withdrawal permit being 650,000 gallons, does that exclude well 2 and 3?
So
No, a permit is a permit. And so let me get into that right now on my second page. I'll answer your questions if you let me go to my report.
Oh, yeah, it says right there. Sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, right, so overall, our wells can actually withdraw about 1 million gallons per day because we have built redundancy into the system. Now, we can't pump those wells, actually, you're not allowed to withdraw more than 650,000 gallons, even though we have the capability to. So the capability's there. Just in case we have contamination or a well go down for maintenance issues, things we're dealing with PFAS now, we're able to have the redundant wells come online and provide the resources that we need for the supply, the demand. So that's to answer your question there with that. You can't just take any more out, but you have the capability of. And that was the whole plan going along years ago. Each new development had to bring a well online. which leads me to the second thing. So now we do have well 2 offline. And we do have well 4 and 14 offline that should have been brought online when Westerly Grove was built. And we still know that EPA is going to come out with that 4 parts per trillion, and they're looking at probably March or April to do that. If that does occur, we know we have 2 or 3 other wells that are just a little bit above that. Whether we're going to have to remediate right away, will we have to take them offline, public notice, whatever the case may be, it kind of puts us in an uncertain area as far as allocation goes. That staff's recommendation is to certainly no more allocation at this point right now until we can work these issues out and have all our wells up and running that are offline right now. So does that answer the questions, Jeff?
Well, I guess that answers part of it. So is that why Bricken has not been approved, Martin?
Yeah,
Brigham has had an approved plan. They've not come and requested an allocation from the commissioners yet. They're not at that point.
Okay, but Martin already said that was the reason, right?
well, yeah, the planning commission's been holding off on a water report for a while now to try to get all this information together, and so, so the people at the Bricken, they're well aware that, you know, this is going on, and,
So it could be no forever?
well, in theory, it could be, yeah, but, you know, just, it depends on a lot of things.
Yeah. So just a couple more things, Wade, or maybe it was Niles, so well 3 has PFAS remediation that's working its way.
Correct, and it's in service now.
Well 3's in service?
Yes.
Oh, good job. And then well 2, you're going to put the PFAS filters on there and see how it works out. Is it going to be the same one? Because I know you had
So,
orange medium and charcoal medium.
so that's still, I think, to be determined exactly how we're going to fit in on the well 2 site. But but that's an ongoing project, exactly how we're
Okay.
going to work on that.
And now, given that the EPA has said this 4 parts per trillion, are there other wells that we know of that exceed that?
Yes.
Oh, yes, okay. Are they offline?
No. There's no regulation to take them offline at this point.
Could you say that again, Wade? I didn't hear you.
The regulation has not been, it's been proposed, but it has to go through a series of peer reviews and just the MDE, EPA, they all look at what the impact's going to be, how are they going to fund the impacts, if they have, just what impact it's going to have basically for all water suppliers.
Okay, all right. And when will well 14 be finished?
So it's finished right now. We're waiting for, it's 4 and 14 actually. They tied into one well house with one treatment system. But we're waiting for the contractors to all get together to do the initial startup on it so we can do a pump down and then test it to make sure there's no PFAS in that before we can put it into the system.
Okay. And that's right by the tot lot, right over Westerly Grove?
Yes.
Correct.
All right. Thanks, Wade. Thanks, Niles.
Okay. That's it for my
Want to
report.
give an update on the water tower?
We'll
That's town
we'll
manager.
talk about that in a second, yeah. Just
All right, you guys. Thank you. Sorry, quick consult. Wade, appreciate that. The reports, and so we do have to vote on some. First of all, does anybody have any questions on the 2 reports that we did? I know we have a vote coming up on 1.
No, you don't,
Questions? Those were
actually, you
good
guys
vetting.
don't have to.
Go ahead.
You guys don't have to vote on this.
We don't,
The planning commission votes to approve, which they did at the
I'm
last.
sorry,
meeting,
right, yeah.
and It just had to be given to you.
Got it, yeah, it's not for us to vote on either one of them. Right, one is one is a policy report, and the other one is going to be approved by the planning commission.
has been.
Has been.
Has
Okay,
been.
okay, gotcha. So we just get to listen?
Get informed, we get
That's
informed.
it.
Well, I think there is, to me, there's one kind of red flag, and that is, and Wade agreed, that on page 7, the net available water capacity at 49,122 gallons per day is not is a thin buffer.
So to do
I'm not saying we can do anything about it, but
No, we can. So 49,000 gallons, there's several case laws out there that, you have capacity over what is permitted. So you're looking at a permitted, not a capacity.
Yeah,
Versus,
remember,
yeah,
our
which we
capacity is
can.
1 million gallons, our permitted is 650.
Right.
And you're talking about a buffer that's about 8% of the, of our overall permitted use. So I hear you, it's not as thick as we'd like it to be, but it's also reasonable. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, Wade, is there, not being a professional in this field, I'm assuming that there's some type of recommended buffer amount?
There's not, because every water supplier faces different challenges as far as the type of industries they have, if they have any. There's so many variables in it that there's not an industry standard as far as that goes. The planning commission will be looking at this before they recommend any more allocation moving forward when they do an allocation plan. And that's something we've always had in the past. Right now, this is expired. They were going to take it up this year, but with everything that's happening in the water system, this is better to put everything on hold until we can figure it out. And that's kind of what the recommendation from staff is.
I agree with that.
Okay.
So just as a clarification, Willard is really the fish pool project? All right. And you can't take that away, so, yeah.
Well, you could.
Well, as Martin said, under an emergency situation, the town could actually pull back if
That's
need
not
be,
something we're
or put
anticipating
on
having
hold.
to do.
Right,
but-
right, right,
but-
yeah.
But Chuck wanted to point out that that tool is in our toolbox if we need to.
Okay. Thank you.
Anything else, Wade, on those?
That's it for me on that.
Okay, anything else from the commissioners? Questions on either one of those reports?
No, that's pretty clear.
Okay, very good. Next up, then. You're on, I guess it's old business. Is there something there? How about town manager's report?
Okay. So staff's put together a pesticide flyer that we talked about that's going to be mailed out to every household in town. Either today or maybe it came in today. I don't know if it came in or not, but
I don't think it did today, because I didn't see
Okay.
it. So I think with the weather and everything, so I'll check in on that.
okay, yeah, once it comes in, that's going to be mailed out, and it's got some good information on it. And Jim will probably criticize it because he was in the printing business his previous life.
I'm prepared to, but
That's what I was thinking.
but only only for content. The only reason I'm saying that too is because I'm not sure if you had to consult with any of the of our partners in terms of the information that we gained about pesticides from the landscapers. So I'm hopeful that whatever you guys have put together has had some scrutiny from those guys to make sure that technically, beyond what we already know and what we've learned, that their whatever opinions they have had some sort of resonance in it.
Wade, are you working with the county rep on this?
Yes, the county, and we use stuff from the public hearing. This will be our first of probably another flyer is going to go out later. The county's going to follow up with their flyer also. Our flyer really speaks to the do's and don'ts of what is allowed by the law, why we did the county law to protect our water, and why the decision was made. And then what do you do for your organics, and you contact your local landscaper. So we tried to put everything in there. It's just a one-sheeter also, because we didn't want to have a 2 or 3 page mailer going out. We wanted to keep it, short and sweet. So I think we captured everything in there that we needed to. So
What I'd like to do is, so when they come in and before we go out to the public, I'd love to prepare a post that could accommodate the fact that we're circulating this, just to kind of give it. I know that you probably are like, no, Jim, it needs to just stand on its own, put the flyer out there. But I do want to talk about it before we go out there, because I'd like to prep the people a little bit on Facebook if we could.
Right.
I'll do it.
Absolutely. And one reason we're using the mailer, because we were not criticized, but it was brought to our attention that
That's great.
a lot of people don't use that social media.
No, I'm glad we have a flyer. It's good.
And Wade, I assume that the information you're putting out there lets people know that potentially that if they're putting a lot of chemicals on their lawn, that some amount of those chemicals could end up in our drinking water.
It's right in there. Yep, we got it.
Great, thank you.
I think you guys will be happy with it. And like I said, if we do another one in the future, which we probably will, please give me some feedback.
Great.
We had a lot of things going on, so we kind of just, wrapped it up quick, got it together, and, taking care of business.
No, it's great. Thank you. That's great.
Staying on that same vein, Tara set up a pesticide community informational meeting with Mary Trigavani from the county. It's going to be March 20th at 7 p.m. at Town Hall.
Good.
What was that
So we're
date,
gonna
Wade?
get-
March 20th.
It's going to be March 20th. So we've got some time, and we're going to promote that, and so that's a good one too. Just a little egg of following up on where we were earlier.
Good deal. Thank you.
Okay, yep. I want to thank Preston and his crew. They both did a great job in creating a temporary structure around the well 3 activated carbon filters that are outside. I mean, they're very large, and they constructed a temporary building around it that we have to put heaters in, so we're able to run it continuously through the winter. It'll probably be there for 2 years before we can construct real buildings there. So it's a great help to have, people on staff to be able to construct things like that for us. Let's see, John also has been working on our water line replacement project. That's for Cohos and the Westmont area. We're hoping to go to bid with that next week, so we can have some bid opening sometime in March. So that'll be coming back to you, and that's going to be using the American Rescue Funds for that project. The Hamos Conference Station project's been underway. It's been torn down, demolished, and they're building up the foundation and the block walls on it right now. And like Jeff had mentioned, we're hoping to have it done by springtime for baseball season. And then I will be sending out emails for the March budget Saturday meeting to get some tentative dates set up for us, so we can start that process, because we will have to introduce the budget by the end of March, early April. So that'll give us some time to get it going. And that's all I have. Niles, you have anything?
Yeah, just a couple of quick things. One is just the Parks and Streets guys did a great job with the plowing and with the streets over the last 24 hours. So I just wanted to say that, and also the guys on Friday doing a water main break that went really well and really efficiently, and so that was good. And then I spoke at the chamber at the beginning of January, just giving an update on everything. So those were just sort of the quick couple of things that I had.
Great,
And I
thanks.
want to congratulate Preston on his prescience for leaving the lights up until the snow fell.
Yeah, how long do we get to leave the lights up?
So they will come down fairly soon here probably, but as we get out of the holiday season. But
Plus, we've had 7 inches of water in the last 2 weeks, so I'm sure the guys are keeping it busy. So,
Busy, keep us.
Wade and Niles, I'd like to ask you too, like, where do we stand with composting? Like, we put a survey out there about composting, and I was curious if we've moved forward or what we've learned.
So, Sustainable Poolesville has still been working on the composting stuff. I gave Don the results of the survey, so I think he was going to.
What were the results of the survey? Do you know?
I think most people who knew of it were supportive of the idea. I think there's a couple questions about where it would be located and things like that.
Yeah.
That were a discussion that Sustainable Poolesville was having. But I can share those again with all of you as well.
I just want to make sure it's still on people's radar, because I had several residents express interest to me and thought it was a good idea, so didn't want it to fall through the cracks. So that's great, thanks.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Martin, what's been happening with that too is that the Sustainable Poolesville Committee's been looking at different places that do it in terms of different towns as well as different companies, and really having them matriculate in, talking to us about what they have to offer.
Excellent.
And
Might be something that if we could figure out before the budget process too, like, because I'm sure it's not going to be free.
It's not necessarily free, but then there's some questions in terms of what's in it for the company. Like if there's a collection, then what do they do with that?
Yeah, the mulch.
What they do with the compost. Because sometimes there are folks who want that compost. Say, oh, yeah, we'll come take your compost. Then the question is, well, what do they do with it? And is there a
Sell it,
profit
make
for
a
them
profit, right.
that's worth it to come out and take it? So.
Is there a way for us to have the town involved, so the town can then use the compost in our parks?
We haven't really discussed that part, I don't know, we could have a discussion about that, but the compost in the parks, but so far it's been about the sort of community collection aspect, so we can look into that as well.
And having the right site. But I'll bring it back on the 31st when we meet. I'll bring it.
Awesome, thanks.
go ahead.
Want me to make a motion?
Yep.
Make a motion, we adjourn?
Second?
Okay, we have a motion to adjourn, a second and a third, all in favor, fourth, please say aye. Aye. We are officially adjourned, everybody. And Donna wanted to speak to you and I.
Thank you, Wade.
See you
Thank you,
guys.
Niles.
Yeah, just give me 1 second.